Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. My name is Isaac Loluz and I'll be chairing the hearing. The committee members participating today via WebEx and can be seen and heard are Ms. Sankar, Ms. Atarode, Mr. Bartolo, and Mr. Klassen. City staff will be moderating the meeting throughout with the WebEx platform. Participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentation to the committee using the said WebEx. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. These participants will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants would automatically be muted upon entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participant will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called to speak, and please have only one electronic device on at a time to avoid background echoing. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 of the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1993 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustments considers applications for variances from the provision of the zoning bylaw, permission to extend or alter legal non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and updates by email only. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal known as LPAT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing today will be as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if required, and the committee may ask questions and or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when the 5-minute mark is reached. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. Where required, the applicant or agent will proceed first and make presentation of the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and are all those entitled to receive a notice are informed of the decision of the changes. Then individuals either in support or in opposition to the application will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has the chance to address only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussions and the applications will be taken to committee for a decision. Now, I'm advised that the minutes of July 16 needs adoption. Members, July 16 minutes. Could I have a motion to adopt, please? Ms. Sankar? to adopt. Second,
Yes.
Ms. Atarodi, all in favor? Okay. Thank you. The minutes of 16 of July are adopted. The staff and members, are there any conflict of interest to declare this morning agenda? No. Okay. Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, any files to close or applications to defer?
No, Mr. Chairman.
No, thank you. Okay, we'll proceed with the applications, and we have item number 1. Number 1 is for the members. This is 3167 Bayview Avenue. Is application to sever the lots into 2 lots, including 2 variance applications, 9 variances in one and 6 in the other. There is staff report recommending the conditions for the severance, and there are 3 conditions. One is the to refuse number 2, which is related to the 3-story, and 2 other conditions regarding the site tax and so on. Now, there is a bell connection, which are no concern, engineering no objection, and the councillor office is in support of the entrances of the entrances on the Burbank Drive. So here we have only one person registered, who is the agent. Mr. Zhang, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yeah, my name is Shen Shu Zhang, architect, the agent for the owner.
Thank you. Now, we don't have anybody registered, but still in this case, because there is a problem, we'd like you to make a short presentation, and please address the question of the 3-story that the staff is recommending to refuse. So I'll give you the 5 minutes. Hold a second. I'll give you the 5 minutes, and you start right now.
Yes, the application for the consent for the corner the property now has access from the Bayview Avenue, and we propose to sever into 2 new lots. The access changed to the site facing Burbank Drive, and about the variance application for the part A, the second one about the 3-story, we can delete that variance because that is a definition about the basement. We can lower the basement slab so that the building will be a 2-story building.
That's it? Okay.
That's it. If you have questions, I'd like to answer.
Okay. I understand the 3-story triggered by the room that is on top of the garage, and we see those very frequently. But have you decided to discuss it with the staff?
Yes, we discussed. We will remove that variance. We are making the building to be 2-story building.
Yeah. You have 2-story. I saw them on the plans, but they still recommend to refuse number 2, which relates to 3 stories. But because it's a technical one, did you check it with them? Did you discuss it with them?
Yes, we discussed. We will change the design to make sure the building to be 2-story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Members, questions? Any question? Yeah, Mr. Bartolo.
If you're changing the design to be 2 stories, and what's reflected in this application is it's not 2 stories, is that correct?
Yes, that is not 2-story now, just because of the design. We will change the design so that will be 2-story building.
So your intention is to change the design to keep all of the variances except for the two-story condition. Is that correct?
Yes. Correct.
Oh, who wants to talk? Okay. Okay, we have the Deputy Secretary Treasurer want to weigh in here. Please go ahead.
Mr. Chair, it's come to my attention that there was a mess up when we did the mail out. This application was never mailed out on time, so we need to defer the application. The application needs to be,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The application needs to,
the application needs to be deferred.
Oh.
So we can send a proper notice.
okay. Okay, Mr. Zhang, did you hear the, because of the difficulties here, we need to defer the application. Are you on board for deferral?
He has no choice.
Yes, I actually differ.
let's-
Actually, I received the email from Kelly, told me that the application to be deferred into October 7th. And yesterday I sent a email for her to confirm this. She did not reply. But as I told Kenny that we are fine to defer the hearing to October 7th. Meanwhile, I can change that design to make the building to
Okay,
be two-story.
Okay, so we'll defer the application and then you can change the design and discuss it with the staff. So members, we have, did you want to say something else?
No,
No, okay. Members, we have a request to defer the application, number 1. And do I have a motion to defer Sanidai? Ms. Satarodi? Second?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to defer this application, sine die, so that the applicant can submit their updated drawings to the city.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen? All in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is deferred, Sanida, and a check with the staff when it's coming on board, okay?
thank you very much.
Okay. Item number 2, which is 98 Dunblane Avenue. We have here the to sever the property into 2 lots and 2 variance applications. One has 11 variances, the other 10 variances. Staff report recommends refusal. Forestry, condition 1 and 2. The transportation has 2 conditions just related to the plans. Engineering have some conditions. Bill, no concern. And we have 1 letter of objection from 277 Joyce Boulevard. I have here the agent registered as Mr. Levy. Mr. Levy, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Good morning. We hear you very well.
Good morning.
Could you please state your name and your address for the records here?
Yeah, my name is Jeff Levy, lawyer and agent for the owner of 98 Dunblane. My address is 315 Eglinton Avenue West, Suite 201 in Toronto, Ontario.
Thank you. We don't have anybody else registered here, but in this case, we need you to do a little bit small presentation. I understand I saw your submissions, including the one September 14, in relation to the size of the lots. So could you please explain the merit of your application? And I'll give you the 5 minutes, and I'll start it right now.
Thank you very much. Good morning, committee members. All things considered, I hope everyone's keeping safe. My client is asking for consent to sever 98 Dunblane from one very large lot over 62 feet wide to 2 approximately sized lots of just over 31 feet each. My client intends to build 2 similar homes, one on each lot, for his family and for his brothers. To respond to the city planning staff report, I would like to speak to the comments which appear to only focus on the consent to sever the subject property. The report only mentions that the existing lot is being divided into 2 smaller lots. However, no analysis is provided on the 2 smaller lots and how they compare to the size of the lots on the same street and in the neighborhood. On Dunblane Avenue, between Bathurst Street and Avenue Road, there are 39 lots that have widths in the 20s and 30s in feet. And between Avenue Road and Yonge Street, more or less, all the lots are between the 30s and the 20s in feet, more so on the smaller side. About 2 houses to the east and 2 houses to the west of the same side of the subject property, there have been 2 previous severances to smaller lots than the ones we are proposing, 92 94, 106, and 108 Dunblane Avenue. Also, all along Dunblane Avenue, there are many lots, smaller and within the same size of the lots we wish to create. These include 52, 54, 55, 63, 65, 145, 147, 177A, 177B, 179, 190A, 190B, 192, 194, 196A, 196B, 197, 199, and 201 Dunblane. As well, many of the smaller lots are actually on the corners of the blocks between Avenue Road and Bathurst Street on Dunblane Avenue. Keeping in mind there are very few homes left to rebuild, most of the older bungalows have been redeveloped into new single-family dwellings. The chances of the prevailing streetscape and neighborhood losing its existing physical character is nearly impossible. Also, upon granting this consent to sever, I find it difficult to believe that it would be reused as a strong precedent for other consents when there are no other lot sizes over 62 feet on Dunblane Avenue, and very few in the entire neighborhood between Bathurst Street and Avenue Road and north to south between Wilson Avenue and Lawrence Avenue. When studying the consents to sever in the area, over 80% of the files are for lots in the 7-meter range, which was roughly between 24 and 26 feet wide. The lots we propose are 9.54 meters, which is over 31 feet wide each. The staff report also mentions that the subject property is in a zoned RDF12 location on the block. However, the same block has both RDF9 and RDF12 frontage zoning, 9 meters and 12 meters on the same block. The zoning map was included in my earlier submission. Thus, in and around the same area and on the same block, the homes vary with frontage ranging from 9 meters to 12 meters. The proposed lots upon consent will be over 9 meters, keeping within the fabric of the streetscape and neighborhood as per the official plan and the designation of neighborhoods. The City of Toronto's official plan specifically mentions under this section neighborhood that, quote, the physical character of the geographic neighborhood includes both the physical characteristics of the entire geographic area in proximity to the proposed development and the physical characteristics of the properties that face the same street as the proposed development in the same block and the block opposite the proposed development. Proposed development within a neighborhood will be materially consistent with the prevailing physical character of properties in both the broader and immediate contexts, unquote. The official plan is also included to ensure that the City of Toronto evolves, improves, and realizes its full potential. Toronto has hundreds of neighborhoods, but the policies are the same. The main one of concern is to ensure low-scale buildings, including housing. That means smaller homes that are easily accessible, affordable, and diversified. While the City of Toronto insists on the stability of the neighborhood's physical character, it does not require that it be maintained. The two concepts of stability and maintaining have to work together. Maintaining can be accomplished through the aesthetics and not just by the size. The official plan is trying to accommodate the constant social and demographic changes affecting the general physical character of the residential neighborhoods. These changes are to be sensitive to gradual and fit. The severance of 98 Dunblane Avenue does not mean the streetscape is changing in that direction. In fact, as mentioned earlier, nearly every home has been rebuilt on that street and the look and feel has already been established. The size of the lot in question is too big for the neighborhood, and therefore more likely two good-sized 31-foot homes would be more suitable than a single 62-foot home. The elevations of the proposed homes match the look and feel of its neighbors. These
I'll
new
ask you to
homes
summarize. I'll ask you to summarize, please. You're a little bit over 5 minutes.
Sure. These newer homes within the same overall coverage and size are in fact reinforcing the present-day general physical patterns in this particular neighborhood. Because of the nearly 400 minor variance applications and consents to severances granted within the first few blocks of this property, the prevailing sizes, configurations, heights, massing, scaling, and density has evolved from the current zoning bylaw so much that it's nearly impossible to find a home on Dunblane Avenue or any of its neighboring streets that has not been varied. In fact, the much older homes
Okay,
waiting to be
Mr. Levy,
redeveloped
I'll
will
have to
not
cut.
even
I'll
comply.
have to cut you off. Could you please?
Okay, I'll just finish. I'm sorry about that. The homes will be well built and sustainable for a very long time for most family sizes. The severances are minor variances once the variances are minor once the severance is consented to. The severance does not require that a plan of subdivision be
Okay,
implemented
that's it.
to go
I'm
from
cutting
one
off
to two
you.
lots.
Let's see
Okay,
what,
thank you for your time.
let's see the questions for the members, okay? We have the staff report indicates in their report that the majority of the lots in the area are over 12 meters. So did you discuss your statistics with the staff?
The staff report, I haven't had a chance to get a hold of the staff members, sorry.
Okay, all right. So let's see what the members have saying. Ms. Sankar, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo what you've said, Mr. Chair, about the staff having done a lot study within the area. So they've actively gone out to nearby residential properties on Dunblane Avenue and the surrounding neighborhood. And they're saying that, you know, in their opinion, the proposed lots are undersized in comparison to both the zoning bylaw requirement and the existing lots within the neighborhood. You're telling me a different story about that, but we've got staff who've done their own research on this. I wondered if you can help me reconcile in my head that discrepancy or that difference in opinion, and if you have any sort of proof to show us, like a map of all of the properties that have this type of undersized, well, according to them, sort of an undersized frontage. And secondly, the second question that I have is around the report from the Ratepayer Association, their letter, just talking about something to do with the side yard setbacks and the fact that it, from their opinion, the west side yard setback is 0.76 meters, which is a great significant reduction in the required setback of 1.2 meters. And they wouldn't have objected to that variance if you remove the hedge. I wondered if you can also comment on that, but the first question is more important.
Yes, thank you very much. So I did include in my submissions a table and a chart and a map of similar sized homes in the area. I'm not too sure how to share that. If you have my submissions, you could go to, let's say, Schedule 1 and Schedule 2. It's further down. Okay, so Schedule 1's the yellow that you see there. In here, you could see that red dot is the subject property. That's 98 Dunblane. In that area, you'll see the zoning. So that's the zoning map, and you'll see it's currently set to F12. But the same block, you'll see, has a carve out for F9, which means on that same block, there are properties that have a 9-meter frontage requirement and a 12-meter frontage requirement. The schedule just below that, Schedule 2, is just a highlight of some of the properties. And if you go to the second page of that, so you could see it as Dunblane's a long street. Oh, just above, sorry, you just missed it. Yeah, here, you'll see all the properties in orange that have been severed or of a similar size and nature. If you go up a little bit more, you'll see more of them towards Yonge Street and a lot of them towards Bathurst. And just below that, Schedule 3 is just a handful of severances in the area. And you could see on the lot frontage column that a lot of them have been severed in the 7-meter range and some in the 9-meter range. And ours are going to be 9.54. So our lots are actually going to be on the larger side of a typical severance in the area. The homes, if you wanted to see actual pictures of the homes, you could scroll all the way down. And here, this example here, I put a 98 where our home is, 98 Dunblane, but right to the west of it are 2 homes that are going to be similar size and frontage and the homes themselves. Further down, you'll see homes that are even smaller. These are smaller lots. And this is all on Dunblane. Here you have over 5 homes. So if you go down again, These again are on Dunblane, and these are smaller than 30-foot lots. And if you scroll down again, I believe, yeah, the next page, again, on Dunblane.
Okay, now.
These ones are really small. These are smaller than 30 feet. And if you scroll down again, these were just recently severed, and these are both less than 30 feet wide. Our lots are going to be over 31 feet. And this is what it looks like. There are very many homes. It is a mixed street, I'll grant you that. There are homes that are on the 40-foot frontage size, but there are very many homes that are on the 30 and 20-foot frontage size. The homes are traditional. They're going to match the streetscape. Mind you, this particular example you're looking at right now in the slide is more modern. It's less of a match to the streetscape. Our homes will be more traditional and will be more matching.
Okay, any other question? Any other member question? No? Any question? No? So if there is no question, I think we need a motion. Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, I'm of the opinion that despite the consent and some of the issues highlighted in the staff report, that this proposal is in keeping with the character of the neighborhood and the evolving nature of it. And I do think it will fit into the urban fabric there. So I'm going to put forward a proposal to approve this application subject to the conditions noted in the urban forestry memo.
Okay, and the conditions, they are, okay. You have the conditions, forestry, and, okay. Do I have a second? Can I have a second? Mr. Bartolo, oh, I have 2 seconds. Mr. Klassen, you're seconding it, right?
Mr. Chair, just to say, I think there's also engineering conditions as well and
Yes.
transport conditions.
Yes, yes, yeah, I mentioned that before. There is the engineering have a whole set of conditions, and the and forestry is condition number 1 and 2. So, thank you, Ms. Sankar. So I have the to approve by Mr. Bartolo, seconded by Mr. Klassen. All in favor? I don't see. Okay, opposed?
Mr. Chair, Nazila seems to have,
Yeah, she's not there.
so we'll mark Nazila as absent for this one.
Yeah, I think she stepped out, huh? Okay, can we have the, can we note that Miss Nazila is absent from the application, okay? Okay, Mr. Levy, your application is approved, subject to those conditions, and subject to the condition of engineering and condition of forestry, which is 1 and 2, and
Our standard conditions, Mr. Chair.
sorry?
And our standard conditions.
Yeah, standards says condition for the severance and those conditions for the variances that we mentioned. Okay?
Thank you very much, committee members.
Okay, thank you. What happened to Nazila? Maybe she stepped out, I don't know. Okay, item number 3, which is Ballantyne Drive. We have to build a new dwelling, 5 variances, and the staff report has conditions just to develop in according to the site plan. TRCA, no objection. Forestry, condition number 5. And there is no other one listed except the agent. So, Mr. Smith, are you there?
I am, Mr. Chair. Good to be here with you all today.
Thank you. Could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, Marshall Smith of KLM Planning Partners. We're the agent for our client Yukui He. And our address is 64 Jardin Drive,
Yeah, okay.
Unit 1.
Okay,
Concord.
I needed just your name in the meantime. So we have no other speaker. Members, do we need the presentation? Members, no presentation? Okay, any question? It looks like it's a straightforward. If there is no, there is,
Mr. Chair,
yeah, Mr.
just a
Mr.
question. It's just a question on the front yard setback. That could we just understand that a little bit better?
Okay, Mr. Smith, Mr. Smith, could you answer the question of Mr. Klassen regarding the setback? Hello, are you there?
Absolutely. I am here, Mr. Chair. Absolutely. I can answer the question.
Please.
With respect to the front yard setback, I'd ask, maybe it's prudent for me to have the plans pulled up from the Application Information Center, if that's possible. And I believe it's the first page of the PDF. And it would be helpful if we could zoom into the front yard setback in this instance as well. I'm sorry for the labor requirement on the part of the operator there. So there's a dashed line that you can see crossing the front portion of the proposed dwelling. So I guess what I should start off with saying is that this lot is on the outside curve of Bannatyne if we scroll down just a little bit. So you can see that it's a bit of a challenge to site a house on a lot that has this kind of a relationship to the public right-of-way. It's not perpendicular to the right-of-way, which would make for an easy siting of a dwelling in any event. You can also see that on either side of this dwelling, the form of the neighboring dwellings is that they have this L-shaped form. And so through meetings with the planning staff, we've worked to mimic that character so that we have kind of an optimal fit in an L-shaped form. And the front projection of the building that you can see that gets closest to the street and which crosses a dashed line that you can also see there. It's less than 3 meters in projection. It's a one-story portion of the building. And what this does is it seeks to meet the character of the area. So for the most part, the majority of the building falls within the required front yard setback. However, it's this small projection that's set out to meet the character of the area that's being requested here with respect to that reduction. I'm hoping that answers the question. I can go into further explanation if committee sees fit.
Thank you. Mr. Klassen?
Fine, but that's fine. Thank you.
You're okay. Yeah, that's a very good question because the staff also was concerned and they addressed the question by saying, due to the curvature, the front yard setback ranges from 625 to 9.73. So.
That's correct.
Okay, are you okay? Any other question? What did you say? Any other? I don't see the members. Are you any other question? Please, you have to speak up because we don't see you.
No questions, Mr. Chair.
No question. Okay, can I have a motion, please? And state your name because I don't see you.
Go ahead, Nadine. I can see everybody just fine. But.
All right, I could see everyone fine as well. I'll make a motion through you, Mr. Chair. I do believe it meets the 4 tests. I accept the explanations provided by the applicant here today. I will motion to approve this application. I'll make it subject to the staff recommendations that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to the report, as well as forestry applies.
Thank you. Second. Do I have seconds? Please speak.
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
Who's I? Is that Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, that's me.
Thank you. So the motion is by Ms. Sankar, seconded by Mr. Bartolo, and all in favor. Could you please state your favors because we don't see you, Mr.
Mr. Bartolo is in favor.
Okay, and Miss,
Ms. Sankar is in favor.
okay,
And Mr. Klassen is in favor.
and how about Miss Tarodi? Are you there?
And we don't see her here, no.
Okay, thank you. So please note that Ms. Tarodi is absent. And the, sir, your application is approved, subject to the staff condition for the plan drawing and subject to forestry.
Very much appreciated, Mr. Chair and members
Okay.
of the committee. Thank you very much. Good luck with the rest of your agenda today.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, if you're talking, I can't hear you.
I'm not talking.
Okay. I saw the lips. I didn't hear any words. I was worried for a second.
Now, who's talking here anyways? Yeah, we're having some difficulties here. Could you please just stand by? We're fixing here the video. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having some technical difficulties here, so we're going to break for about 10 minutes to see if we can restore the system. So please, we're going to go for about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes recess, and we will be back as soon as we fix it.
Perhaps Nadini, before you go, could you stop your video and then restart it? See if we can get video on our end again.
Brendan can see it on his computer.
I've done it. I can redo it again.
Right. So yeah, start
Stop
sharing
it.
your video again, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, can you see me? No?
No, we don't see you.
Okay. I'm
I
going
can
to
see
step
you,
away,
though.
but I can.
This is Mr. Klassen. I can see everyone.
Oh,
So
you can see us. We don't see anybody here.
yes, yes, but
On our end,
I
we
can
can
see-
see.
yes, we can see you and we can see each other as well.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Klassen.
Is there another, is the community council or city council or anything else going on today that would cause a little bandwidth issue for us? Yeah, no, I don't get it.
Jesus.
Onazilla,
Hi.
they're having technical problems.
Oh, okay.
So we're taking a break
Members,
for about 10 minutes.
members, could you please not to talk, because we had a recess for about 10-15 minutes due to the problems, the technical problems. So until we fix
Okay.
it, just please hold on, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Nazila, you're there.
Members, can you ensure that your your video is working? Turn your video on. Okay, we've got Mr. Clausen back. We've got Ms. Sankar back. Mr. Bartolo, could you stop your video and start it again? And same with Ms. Adarodi.
I see Nazila. Okay, and I see Mr. Klassen. And that's it. I don't have the other two. Oh, here. Hi, Nadini. Okay. And where's the other one? There we go. Okay, we have a full house. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're sorry about we apologize for the delay here. We had some glitch in the system. And we're going to start with item number 4, which is 120 Hendon Avenue. This is one variance to remove the existing sloped roof from the detached garage and replace it with a flat roof. The application is asking for 5.9 meters, 5.9 meters, while the permitted is 4, and the staff is recommending to reduce it to 5.35 meters. We have the agent here, and we have 4 other speakers, including a translator from Korea, Korean translator. So, Mr. Mukherjee, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry about the delay here. Could you please state your name and address for the records here? We need it.
Yes, Sovik Mukherjee, 120 Hendon Avenue.
Thank you. Okay, we have 4 people to speak for this on this application. So we need you to make a presentation. Go ahead. You have 5 minutes to tell us the merits of your application. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. I'll get right to it. I was here 2 years ago for a similar application of 6.7 meters. And right off the bat, actually, I would like to revise my application to 5.69 meters. I believe that's allowed, Mr. Chair.
Well, are you asking me a question?
Yeah, am I allowed to revise my application to 5.69 meters?
We have a suggestion here from the staff to reduce it to 5.35, and they said if you don't reduce it, they're recommending to the members to refuse it. Now, this is a whole big story on this here. You had 6.7, which was refused by this committee. Then you appealed it to the T-Lab with a reduction to 665. Which was also reduced, which are also refused, and now you're coming back with 5.9, and now you want to change it again. So could you please?
Yes, Absolutely. I'd like to address that for sure. So as you said, I was here 2 years ago. 2 panel members were for at 6.7, 2 were against at 6.7. At that time, we did not have a shadow study. Mr. Chair said, hey, there's no shadow study. Went to TLAB. I am not a lawyer. I represented myself. I can't be spending tens of thousands of dollars on all these professionals for a small project. So TLAB did not go well. I understand that. I went to the planning department in January and I said, hey, what can we do? In January, we verbally agreed on a 5.9 meters would be okay. That's why my application is for 5.9 meters. I have an email from planning staff saying I've addressed the height issues. Well, I don't know what happened, but a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, planning came back, said, hey, can you make it 5.35? So I've been working constantly with them. I said, okay, look, back to my designer, what can we do? 5.69 is the lowest we can go. And that's using steel beams, that's using joist hangers, that's increasing the grade of the slab. Every trick in the book that we can possibly use, we're using. I have a 70-year-old structure, right? It's been there for 70 years. We're not comfortable cutting 70-year-old concrete block out. At that point, I wouldn't do this project. So 5.69 is the lowest we can go. And when I spoke to the planning department, he was saying, hey, okay, I'm not changing my report, but I can't put words in his mouth, but it was kind of like, good luck and you should be okay at committee. I can't put that in his mouth, but that was the tone I got. So I went to the councillor. The councillor did not send any letter of objection because I've been trying to engage all the stakeholders as I possibly can. Now, in the merits of my application, if you could please go to my submission, whoever's there. Obviously, there's some issues with raccoons. We have raccoons under all the awnings, and they hang out there and they destroy the roof. So we're trying to go to a flat roof, get rid of that problem. There's also a high water table. Every time there's like a big rainstorm, there's flooding, right? I know this is not the job of the planning department to take care of flooding, but a flat structure does reduce the flooding because it holds water. Yeah, if you could just go down a few more, please. Yeah, so right there, there's raccoons all over the awnings. That's where they hang out. They love to hang out. I think the panelists get the point. And then the next point is lower the water table. Again, there's water in the garage, right? That comes up and freezes. Again, it's something that with planning that we can lower the water table. There is letters of support. These letters obviously are from the previous application, but I've spoken to every person there and I've said, hey, have you stolen support? And they are, and it's the same BLD number. It's the same application BLD number. Okay, in terms of can you go to the very bottom, general? Yeah. So obviously, the panelists understand what the committee does. In terms of minor, it's not an issue of the number. It's an issue of the impact to the surrounding properties and neighborhood. I already have a 2-story structure, 70 years old. I'm trying to lower it, trying to bring it closer in line with what's there. And in terms of precedent, again, I'm asking for 1 variance. If someone else wanted to build a similar structure, they'd be asking for 4 or 5 variances. I'm asking for 1 so I can just repair the roof. And these are all the other cases that have been, clearly stating that it's not about the number, it's about the impact. And if you could please go 1 up.
Are you through? Are you finished?
Just 1 more point. If you could go 1 up on that slide deck. Anyways, it's a really, really big space there. If I wanted to rent this out, that's the obvious. Everyone's saying you're going to rent this out. I would not be spending 1 up more. Nope, sorry, maybe down, sorry. Yeah, that one. I would not be spending $50,000 to make a rental property with 1 phone call would shut this thing down because it's against the bylaws. I understand we don't want to put pressure on our bylaw officers, but it's also a very dumb business decision to spend $50,000 to make a rental unit that would be shut down with 1 phone call. If I wanted to do that, I would do it right now with the space that's there without drawing attention to it. So,
okay, Mr. Mukherjee, you're over your 5 minutes and we'll have to stop you because we have some questions. Sure. And we have 4 more people to speak here. So in other words, the bottom line here, you are asking for 569 and you're not going for 535. Okay, we'll hear the people and in the meantime, is there any question for this gentleman? He'll be back after the other one speak, okay? We'll have him after. Okay, so we have here Sang Dae Choi. Are you there? Sang Dae Choi?
Mr. Chair, it's my understanding that Mr. Steve Kang is willing to speak on their behalf.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Hank his name, eh? Steve Hank?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here along with
Okay.
a
Okay.
Yes.
Could you please state your name and your address? Your honor?
my name is
Yeah.
my name is Shinyang Steve Kang, and my address is 118 Hendon Avenue.
Okay. And what's your concern? Yeah, I'll give you the time here. You have 5 minutes, and please tell us what's your concern about this application.
Yes. Basically, I'm the immediate adjacent neighbor located at 118 Hendon, which faces 120 Hendon Avenue on the west side. And in my application, I showed a picture of what a 120 Hendon's garage looks like from our backyard. There's no garage in the neighbor with such mess like as an existing structure right now. And if it rises by 2.4 meter on top of that, and plus it's on our west side, so in the afternoon, the amount of the shadow that it's gonna create will be overwhelming. On top of that, I do like to enjoy being in my backyard instead of facing a 2-story high wall. And I also addressed in my application regarding some of information in the plan application that the applicant submitted. It does seem like there is a foundation wall drafted on in their plan application, in their plan drawing, and I wanted to clarify, like I want Committee of Adjustment to clarify that information. Like, why am I seeing concrete block masonry foundation wall that's a 2.4 meter in the basement, and what that is? And also, he's proposing 2 feet by 4 feet in 2 feet by feet size of window, which would overlooks into my backyard. I have 2 years old and 4 years old, which hang around in the backyard all the time. And with this proposal, it means that someone will overlook into my backyard. And I think that's a privacy issue as well. So these are really my major concern, is that the shadow and then the overlooking condition, as well the size of the structure, which cannot be found along in the neighbor. So those are really my main concern, along with my request to clarify what the drawing is indicating regarding the basement level. And I'm here with Mrs. Sungdae Choi and Mr. Wante Kim. Mrs. Sungdae Choi unfortunately kind of had to leave as in the previous hearing because she had to take care of her children. But Mr. Wante Kim is here with me.
Okay. Are you finished? Yeah.
Yes, I am
Okay.
finished.
Okay. Now, just a question here. I think you're having some old information. You're asking for. You said he's asking for 2.4 meters. The permitted is 4 meters, and now he's asking for 5.69, and the staff is recommending 5.35. So it's not 2.4 meters. The other thing.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I meant 2.4 meter on top of the existing structure.
Oh, well, yeah, what he's permitted 4 meters. Now, the other recommendation from the staff is to reduce the windows, which will probably address your concern. But let's hear from the other people. Staff,
Sure.
Members, any question for the speaker? No? Okay. Who's next one is Vante Tim? Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chair, Mr. Chair, as Mr. Steve Kang indicated, they will be speaking through Mr. Kang's account right now.
Mr. Hank.
So
Oh,
Wante Kim is about to speak.
okay. Are you there, Mr. Kanching?
Hi, good morning. My name is Wante Kim. I live in 9 Desert Court. Sorry, from now on, I will speak with Korean instead of English speaking.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Kang will translate in English.
Okay, you're speaking for the gentleman here, for the,
Yes.
for what? For which, where does he live?
9 guests. Sorry,
That's-
9 Gaslight Court.
I got it. Okay, so please go ahead. Can you translate and ask him what he wants?
Of course. So what he's basically saying is that the garage structure is located quite close to the north side of the property, which is close to his property. So if the height comes to be at 5.9 meter or 5.3 meter as proposed, like the adjacent neighbors on the north side would see this structure, and he doesn't like to see the structure like a ancillary structure that's with such height in his view. The second point is second point is kind of similar in case the proposed structure might create the shadow, especially during the winter when shadows are longer, could be affected by that. The third point is the applicant, Mr. Kim, is asking for ancillary structure with the purpose of being garage and storage. Doesn't really see the point of the extension to gain what. The owner must know what the purpose is. However, the neighbors around really questions the purpose of extension just for storage purpose. And he has also expressed his concern regarding the appearance of 120 Hendon in general, unfinished for years, which really brings down the appearance of the neighbor.
Okay, thank you. Now let's see.
Thank you.
Are you finished? Yeah.
Yes, we are finished.
Okay. I'll see if the members have any question. Any question for this gentleman? No. Okay. We have one more person listed here, Andrew Lee. Andrew Lee, are you there? Andrew Lee, are you there? Are they registered? Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, they appear to be a call-in user. They are unmuted.
Hello.
Okay, Andrew Lee.
Yeah.
Okay, can you please fix your system there? Yeah, only one
Can
device.
you hear me now?
Okay, now it's okay. Could you tell us your name and your address, please?
Hello. My name is Andrew Lee. I live and the owner of 7 Gaslight Court, which directly behind 120 Hendon Avenue.
Okay.
At the rear of my property.
Okay, we have one variance here. Anything that we didn't hear already? Anything different from what we heard before?
Yes, I was here twice. I was here at the committee, and then I was present at the appeal as well.
So what's your concern in this case? Do you agree with the speakers before when we move on, or you have something different to mention?
Well, that's one thing I like to point out. The subject property was rejected by both the committee and the TLAP. Now they reduced the height from whatever, 6.7 to 5.9. The difference between that and the previous application is 0.9 meter difference.
Yeah, we know all the story.
The reduction height was achieved by reducing the height of the existing garage by 3.1 meters. I have copy of the plan from ST Engineering with professional engineering seal, signed, and dated August the 1st, 2018, showing the existing garage height is 3.96 meters, not 3.17 meters, as shown in the new plan.
Okay, are you finished?
Yeah. Well,
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's, you're citing the story, which is right. Now we have one variance and we're going to move on. So staff, I mean, members, any question? Any question for this gentleman? No? Okay, so we'll call back Mr. Mukherjee. Mr. Mukherjee, can you go?
Yes, sir.
Can you please address those concerns?
Absolutely. Could you please put on my neighbor's submission, very last page, shadow study, if possible? And could you please zoom into the very, very bottom? Right to the very bottom, last page. Absolute. Last page, shadow study. Is that the last page? Oh, yeah, that's just up. Yeah, could you zoom in, please? Zoom, yeah, that's fine. You'll see on the very last two slides, the very bottom left and right, the shadows are at different angles at 5:18 p.m. So this shadow study is wrong. The sun angle does not change at 5:18 between old and new. Something is wrong in this shadow study. I don't know who made it. I don't know who did it, but I don't think it was done by a qualified professional. My shadow study is done by a qualified professional. At 4 meters, which is as of right, it casts the same shadow on 118 Hendon as the proposed structure, and I'm lowering the height. So everyone's talking about shadows. I'm actually, there's hedges around the west side and the north side. On this public forum, I will say I will always maintain a set of hedges on the north and west side. The north side is currently owned by my neighbor's hedges, and I will plant my own if he ever cuts his own hedges down. There will be, the hedges are taller than the current garage, so I don't see what people are talking about with the views and shadows, because again, the hedges block all the shadows, and we're lowering the height overall. If you could please let me please go a couple of up to the window, the side window that my neighbor has shown. And I'll just start describing. We're actually taking away a massive window that's currently there. The glass broke. We boarded it up with concrete, but we're taking away a window. If you go higher up, please. And we're also taking the top floor window to 6 feet high in the air and making it glass block. So you cannot see out of glass block that's fire rated. And it's also 6 feet high in the air. Nobody's eyeballs are 6 feet high. If you can go a little higher, sorry. One more. Yeah, see, if you zoom in, there's a big window that was there that we're removing. And also the top window is going 6 feet high in there. Down bottom right. Yeah, like anyways, there's a window there that we're removing. So we're increasing privacy massively. The reason for going flat is, like I said, these raccoons are the pain in the pain. They leave droppings everywhere, and then they hide under the awnings. Flat roofs also, I can do solar, I can do cool roof, green roof. I tried to do a green roof last time, but the costs were prohibitive now that have gone this far. And just see if I adjust all the points. The underground structure. Planning department had no problem with that. That's not even part of this variance. I do work on my cars. I love working on my cars. If I was gonna put a lift in to raise the car, if I'm losing the height on the top, which means I'm taking it down by a whole number of feet, I said, can I get them from underneath? And they said, yeah, that's as of right. I can dig underneath and get underneath my cars from under there. So they're okay with that. And it says mechanical. We're going to put a sump pump in there because of all the water. They didn't have a problem. I hope I addressed all the concerns.
Okay, are you finished? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, I have to ask him. Are you finished, sir?
Yes, I'm finished.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for this gentleman? He's asking for 5.69. The staff is recommending 5.35. And the staff also recommends the reduction of the windows to 0.61 and 1.219 meters in width. So any questions?
I have a question for the applicant, Mr. Chair.
Please.
I'm just curious whether you've made any attempt to speak with your neighbors to arrive at a solution that everybody's able to agree with.
Absolutely. So on 9 Gaslight Court, I tried to speak to him once, wouldn't answer the door, but he did show up at T-Lab. One salient point, my structure's been there for 70 years. Those Gaslight courthouses have been there for about 30 years. So they bought the house knowing the structure was there. Again, if they won't speak with me, I can't do much. He did want the entire structure torn down, and I said, that's not gonna happen. Like, it's a valid garage. Same thing, 118 Hendon, the current owner. I tried to get him outside once, but we couldn't find the time to speak. But I'm of the, I think they just want 4 meters or there's no change at all. I think people are hesitant of change. I don't think there's a number that they will accept. I did try.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? Okay, if not, I'll need a motion, please. Anyone? Ms. Sankar?
Mr. Chair, through you, I feel that the explanations provided by the applicant here today satisfies me in terms of just looking at this and his willingness to hearing the explanations for the prior applications as well as what's infusing this one. And I feel certain that, it meets the 4 tests to me. So I will put forward a motion to approve this application, and I will make the changes that the applicant made here today. The motion will be to change variance 1 from 5.9 meters to 5.69 meters. And I'm okay with that. That's my motion.
There's conditions for the windows. The conditions, the windows.
I understand that, Mr. Chair, but I'm not putting conditions on the windows. I have 1 variance before me, and that's what I'm working with.
Okay, no other condition, just the reduction to 5.69. Do I have a second?
That's right.
Mr. Bartolo, second. All in favor? No. So the motion, there's only two people for the motion, and so I'll have to make a decision, I guess. Could you make it? Okay. Yeah. I would normally agree with the 569, but I still insist on the staff for the windows because the neighbors mentioned that one of the problem they have is the look of the windows, and that was addressed by the staff with the recommendation to reduce the size of the windows to 0.6 meter in length and 1.216 meters in width. Therefore, I won't go for the motion, and I need another motion. I don't see them, We lost them.
This is Mr. Klassen.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that the variance 1 be reduced to 5.69 as proposed, and that the proposed windows on the east and west elevations be 0.61 in length, 1.2 in width.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can you have Mr. Klassen please repeat that motion? I got the impression he said refuse.
No. He said he goes.
No.
Can you repeat the motion, Mr. Klassen?
Okay, Mr. Klassen, Your
Yes.
first sentence, you said, could you please repeat it? The first
Yes,
sentence?
the variance one be that it be changed to what the applicant has proposed, which is 5.69 meters.
Thank you. That's what I heard. Reduced to 5.69. Yes. Okay.
That's right.
Yes. Thank you. And the conditions of the windows.
That's right.
Thank you. Do you have second, please? Ms. Tarodi, second. All in favor? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Opposed. Ms. Sankar is opposing, and the application is approved. Sir, your application is approved. Hello.
I appreciate
Okay, your application is your application is approved, subject to your change to 5.69, and also subject to the windows, the size of the windows. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Item number 5, which is 86 Lynnhaven Road. We have to construct a new dwelling, 9 variances, forestry condition 2 and 3, transportation, no objection, 1 letter of opposition from 88 Lynnhaven Road. We have one speaker here, Mr. Barak Haj Ghassemi. Do I pronounce it well?
Yes, that was very well. Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So state your name and address for the record, please.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chair. My name is Barak Haji Ghassemi. I'm the principal designer at ArcLab Studio and agent for the applicant. Our address is 142 Villadale Avenue,
Okay.
Unit B.
Okay, thank you. That's all I need in the meantime. Let me ask the staff, the members, if they need a presentation. It looks like a straightforward, but I need to see if the members have any question or need a presentation. Are you hearing me, members? Because we don't see you. Okay, now I see you. Okay, do we need a presentation? If not, any question to Mr. Ghassemi? Ms. Satarodi, please go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I want to have explanation regarding variance number 1. The proposed height of the side exterior main wall facing a side lot line is 8.88 versus 1.5. So I appreciate the explanation.
No problem, versus 7.5. So this is in regards to our sidewall heights and also our windows on the side exterior walls. If I can have the committee member to pull our side elevation, this elevation, I can reference that variance on our drawing. Yes. So this variance is only in regards to the windows we have on the second floor. On the east side, there's only 1 window for a bathroom that is only 2.5 feet wide, and that's where the variance of the sidewall height is triggering for 8.88 meters. And also on the west elevation, we have a couple of windows for the bedrooms and 1 window for a bathroom that is triggering that side wall height variance. Now, I just want to add that variances number 3, 4, 5. We wanted to ask for we are comfortable with removing those variances. Variance number 3 is only off by 1 centimeter. We can make that correction in our building permit submission. And variance 4 and 5, it's a discrepancy that the zoning staff are measuring to our they're measuring our side yard setback to our chimneys, which chimneys are approved encroachments into our side yards, and there should not be there should not be any variance for those units. Now, just to make it clear for the applications, I can propose that we did to our elevations and our site plan so that the nature and the character of our proposal and our variances will not affect.
Ms. Sankar, Ms. Tharoji, go ahead.
Just would like to get a clarification. So the applicant is removing variance number 3, 4, and 5.
Yes.
And also I would like an explanation regarding variance number 9. The proposed finished first floor height is 2.9 versus 1.5. Could you also clarify why?
Yes. So if we can pull up our front elevation, so I can reference that variance on our drawing. So again, the zoning examiner is making a mistake on the calculation. Based on our calculation, we have 2.18 meters for the first floor height variance for item number 9, and that's due to the difference in the height of the level of the center of the street to our established grade. 63 centimeter difference, which if we add that number to our compare that number to our variance, will be more or less within the approved bylaws.
So please correct me if I'm wrong. So means, are you willing to change the variance number 9, the finished first floor height, from 2.9 meter to 2.18?
Yes, we can change that. There's a discrepancy with how the zoning examiner is measuring, and we're comfortable with making that correction.
Okay.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, you remove variance number 3, 4, and 5, and you are modifying variance number 9 from 2.9 meter to 2.18 meter. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, any other question? No? So can I have a motion, please? Please go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the modification that applicants provided, such as removing variance number 3, 4, and 5, and also modifying variance number 9. The proposed finished floor height is now 2.18 meter. That's my motion. Also subjected to forestry.
Forestry. Thank you. Second? Can I have a second? Mr. Klassen? All in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is unanimously approved based on those changes you made. 3, 4, 5 removed and 9 changed to 2.29, 2.8. Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
Item number 6, which is 55 Lynnhaven Road. This is to build a new dwelling, 6 variances with a 3-story variance. Staff report recommend refusal of the 3-story variance, and forestry condition number 2, and 1 letter of concern from 64 Brookview Drive. Mr. Number 6, Mr. Hassemi? Hassemi. Oh.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Representing the application as well.
Yeah, you're the same Hassemi, yeah? Okay. Could you please state your name again and address?
Yes, Mr. Chair. My name is Babak Haji Gassami. I'm the principal designer and agent for 55 Lynnhaven Road. Our address is 142 Willowdale, Unit B.
Thank you. Okay, you're the only one registered here. Members, do we need the presentation? Sorry? Oh, there is another one here. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Mr. Hassimi, we have, hello? Okay, we have here one other person listed here to speak, and therefore we need you to make a brief presentation.
No problem.
I'll give you the 5 minutes,
as
okay?
I'm sorry.
I'll give you the 5 minutes. Please start.
Thank you. So if you can, if you refer to our staff report, we worked closely with the planning department in terms of this application. The staff recommended improve, make a correction to our 3-story variance. We have no objection to that. It was a technical variance, but we're comfortable with making that change. Therefore, we're gonna propose to remove variance number 3, number 4, and number 5. Now, in terms of our other variances, if I can have the committee to pull up our front elevation so I can explain the first floor height. Thank you very much. Our first floor is actually only 6 steps above the established grade. That's mainly due to the location of the main floor, and it's where it's located on top of the garage, and we wanted to divide that difference in elevation into half and half. Some of those steps inside and some of those steps outside. Therefore, we're proposing a pedestrian entrance of 1.56 meters. This is very comparable to other approved variances in the area. For variance number 2, this is we're asking for a sidewall height variance of 9.05. This is due to our window openings on the side elevations. On the north elevations, north elevation we have 3 windows. That 2 of them are for a bedroom and one of them for a bathroom. That's causing that variance. And also on this elevation, there's only a small window for a bathroom that triggers that variance of 9.05 meters. In terms of our third variance, asking for again. The zoning examiner has a discrepancy in how she's measuring our building height. If you refer to our front elevation, our overall height on this bylaw 7625 is actually 9.08 and is only 28 centimeter above the permitted allowable permitted height under the bylaw 7625, which is again very minor in nature and is very comparable to other approved residents in the area. I'll be pleased to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We'll call you back because we have another speaker, and then we'll have a question. Is that okay with you, members? We'll call him back. Mr. David Nitkin. Is Mr.
Yes,
David
can you
Nitkin
hear
there?
me?
Yes, please state your name and address for the records here.
My name is David Nitkin. My address is 64 Brookview Drive, Toronto, M6A 2K2.
Thank
I'm
you.
immediately adjacent and to the east of the property in question.
Thank you. So please tell us what's your concern about this application, and we'll give you your time that you need, which is maximum 5 minutes.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Let me start out just by explaining for a moment the properties along both Lynnhaven and Brookview. They were originally a right-of-way which was sold 15 feet on either side of a creek bed to the property owners. So the particular applicant, as is the case with our home and all the others is on an extended deep property, which still has an underground stream underneath it. So it's quite picturesque and beautiful, and there are many unusual gardens along this particular right-of-way. In terms of my specific comments, there are 5. Number 1 is the applicant has not chosen to meet with any of the neighbors, despite our having made public of concerns with the size and the height and the depth of this particular project. Number 2, the applicant has a bad reputation already in that the immediate neighbor at 66 Brookview has repeatedly reported about debris and junk being thrown by the tenants from this particular property.
Mr.
over the
Nitkin,
common
Mr.
sense that they share.
Nitkin, could you please
Yes.
stick to the design here, because we don't deal with the person whether he's reputation or not, because if he didn't have these variances, he would have gone and built the place without coming here. So please stick to the application, please.
Thank you. So, the proposed 4,080 square foot structure is too high at 30 feet, too wide at 37 feet, and too long at 55 feet for both the property size and for the kind of dwelling characteristics in the neighborhood. We would like to ask that the committee ask staff for recommendations that would reduce the variances that are all above what would be allowed without going to committee of adjustment. And more importantly, because many of the neighbors value the trees in the area, that the applicant provide a set of drawings for the neighbors about what will be the trees that will be taken down and what will be the trees that will remain after the construction phase. So that's it. We believe it's too high, too deep, and long, and we would like to have the trees kept to the greatest extent possible and know what's going to happen during and after the construction phase. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. We have, as far as the trees, we don't deal with them here in this committee, but there is a condition of forestry which he has to deal with them in terms of the trees, which one to take, which one to leave. So the trees will be taken care of in concert with the forestry, which will be a condition here. So, and the other one, the member is refusing, the applicant is refusing, is removing question number 3, which belongs to the 2 and 3 story, regarding 2 and 3 story. So let's see what the members have to say, and we'll move on. Any question for this gentleman here? No? Okay, so we'll get Mr. Hassimi back. Mr. Hassimi, could you please respond to that concern?
Yes, absolutely. So, Mr. Chair, in terms of the overall mass of the building that the neighbor who is actually on the rear side, he's actually on the rear side of 55 Lynnhaven on the actually near east. The dimensions that he mentioned about the width and also length, we don't have any variance for building. We don't have any variance for sidewall, side yard setbacks. We don't have any variance for building length, nor we have any variance for building depth. The only variance in terms of building mass that we're asking is the building height, and it's only under 1 foot, which is 3% of the overall height. So I don't think that variance is a major. It's very minor in nature. In terms of subject trees on site, the applicant has already worked with an arborist, and they're only asking to remove 2 trees on site that are subject to this development. This is actually within the perimeter of the building, and they're taking every measure to protect all the other trees on the rear side of the property. They've already submitted their tree protection plan and arborist for forestry, and I'm sure they're gonna cooperate in terms of getting the all the permits from forestry department.
Okay, thank you. So just to understand, you're removing a variance related to the 2-story, is that correct? 3-story? Number 3?
Yeah.
Variance? Okay.
The
Any other change?
Number 3, 4.
3, 4, and 5. Yeah?
Yes.
3, 4, and 5. Thank you.
That's correct.
Okay, members, any question? No? So can I have a motion, please?
No, I just have a quick question. I just want to also clarification regarding variance number 6, because the applicant mentioned there's a technical problem and the height is not what it had been mentioned here, 9.3. I just would like to ask the applicant to see if he's willing to change the height or he was just providing us explanation.
Yes. So our actual building height is actually 9.08. Again, we can be tied to this our elevation and also site plan, whether if you're going to be approved on what's on the public notice or what we have on our calculations. In that sense, we can make sure that the nature of the variances are not going to change.
Sorry, I didn't understand. Are you willing to change it or not?
No.
We can
9.08?
9.08. We're comfortable with changing to what to our calculation.
So means variance number 6, so variance number 3, 4, 5 have been removed, and variance number 6 have been the proposed building height have been changed to 9.08. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any other question? I don't see now I see you. Any other question? No? So can I have a motion then, please? A motion, please? We have,
Mr. Chair, yes. So, Mr. Chair, I will move to approve the application subject to variance 3, 4, and 5 being removed and variance 6 being changed from 9.39 to 9.08 and House of Forestry as well.
thank you. Second, Ms. Sankar, Ms. Atharodi, all in favor? Opposed? Ms. Sankar is opposing. Okay, sir, your application is approved, subject to those changes you made, and subject to forestry. Okay, 3, 4, 5 is removed.
Thank you, Mr.
6 is changed to 9.08. Okay, thank you.
Can you explain to me?
Item number 7, which is 297 Points Avenue. This is to construct a new dwelling, 5 variances, staff report, just a condition to develop east-west drawings. Forestry, condition number 1, transportation, no objection, just 2 conditions related to the site plan notations, and 1 letter of objection from 294 Johnson Avenue. So we have here 1 person listed, which is the agent, Ali Moine. Are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning. Please
Morning, Chairman.
state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Ali, and I run property at 297 Points Avenue.
We're losing you here. Could you please set up your equipment there?
Fortunately, I guess by the phone, but pretty
Yeah,
happy
you're cutting
that you
off.
saw.
You're cutting off. Are you on a speaker, or you should talk to the phone, please?
If you can mute the application to the phone.
Yeah, you must be on a speaker, or you have another device open. So please talk to the phone and close the speaker, and don't have any other device open.
Unfortunately, to hear you application to the phone. I could see the application, but to the phone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. All right, hold a second. Okay, hold a second, Mr. Ali Mooney. We have a very hard time hearing you.
Hello?
Yeah. So let me just go to the, you have.
No, I can't hear the hello.
Yeah. Hello? Okay, so members, any question? We have hard time hearing the speaker. And here we have a straightforward application. Do you have any questions? No? Okay, maybe. Do I see a hand there? No. Oh, yeah, Ms. Sankar has a hand up.
No, I wanted to make a motion.
Please go ahead.
I've looked through the application, Mr. Chair, and I don't have a problem with it at all. So I think it does meet the 4 tests. I'll motion to approve this application. I'll make it
No, could you please unmute yourself? We're in committee here. Go ahead.
So I'll make a motion to approve it, and it will be subject to the staff recommendations of the August 20th staff report that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the east elevation drawing and west elevation drawing submitted to the committee. It will be subject to transport conditions as well as forestry.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Tarodi, all in favor? Okay. Sir, Mr. Ali Moini, your application is unanimously approved, subject to the conditions. Did you hear the conditions? The transportation conditions and forestry conditions. Did you hear it? Hello? He left. Gee. Okay, item number 8. Which is 77 Willowbank. We have to enclose the existing porch, 1 variance, 1 letter of support from 79 Willowbank, which is next door. So it looks like a straightforward. Mr. Andrew Lowry, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, could you please just state your name and address for the record, please?
Hello, Mr. Chairman. My name is Andrew Lowry. Address 4936 Young Street, Suite 151, Southview Homes.
Thank you. You're the only one here registered to speak. I'll ask the members, do we need a presentation? This is a straightforward, very application. Any, no? Ms. Sankar, did you have your hands there? Any question?
No, Mr. Chair, I was just going to make a motion if everyone's ready.
Please go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is really straightforward as they can come. I motion to approve this application, no conditions.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay, sir, your application is approved with no conditions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
You must have made a good presentation, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Next is item number 9, which is 96 Betty Ann Drive. We have the agent, Riza Navadi. Hello, Mr. Navabi. Mr. Navabi, are you there?
Mr. Chairman, hello.
Yeah, could you please state your name and address, please?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Bill Ross, and I'm representing the owners.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. And I have the agent who's the architect and the owner present with me.
Okay. Are you here for the 96 Betty Ann Drive, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we have here 5 variances. Staff report modify the coverage. The councillor to refuse the coverage, and forestry 2 and 3, and letter of concern from 94 Betty Ann. So could you please give us a short presentation?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We're looking at a variance for basically for the coverage. Staff seems to recommend all of the other ones, or at least approve all of the other ones. So we're down to coverage. So I'll try and address that. Like the reality with this lot is that we comply with the front yard setback. We comply with the rear yard setback. We comply with the east side yard setback. We're asking for a slight reduction to 5 feet on the west side. The original house was located at 4 feet from the property line, so we're moving further away. The neighbors on both sides have at least one side yard at 4 feet, and staff doesn't have a problem with that. We also comply with the building length and building depth under the new bylaw, and the building depth or length is 55 feet or 17 meters. We're in compliance with that. And because we're in compliance with the front yard, the rear yard, the east side yard, and asking for only the side yard, 5 feet, where the staff doesn't have a problem with it, reducing our coverage down there will have to reduce in length what we're proposing. So we wouldn't be able to achieve our 17-meter length if we had reduced the coverage to 32. And that's basically our position on it.
Okay. Are you finished? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now you said you're not prepared to reduce. Now the staff is recommending to change the coverage to 32%, and the councillor is refusing it outright. So you don't want to do anything on that respect. You want to stick to 33.9. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll see what members are saying. We have one more speaker here, and then we'll get you back here. Okay.
Thank you.
Fumi Kumamoto, do I pronounce it well? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you please state your name and address for the records here?
Okay, my first name is Fumi, F-U-M-I-E. My last name is Kumamoto, K-U-M-A-M-O-T-O.
And your address is 94, yeah?
94 Betty Ann Drive.
Thank you. So tell us, please, what's your concern about this application?
I have my nephew. He should be on Webex in connection with a question about the heat pump. Hello, Barry, are you there? Is he there?
Well, if anybody wants to speak on your behalf, can speak, state their name and address, and they will be included in your 5 minutes. Both of you can. Okay. Both of you can share the 5 minutes.
Okay, Barry. Where are you, Barry? Gee whiz, where is he? Is he not on the Webex? Hello.
Well, you're registered here as a speaker. We don't have anybody else here on.
My nephew is supposed to be. He lives in California.
Oh, what's his?
And he's supposed to be on the computer. I guess
the computer. What's his last name?
Toyonaga. Toyonaga. He sent a letter in connection with the questionnaire about the heat pump.
Well, we registered here just you. So what do you want?
Mr. Chair.
No, your Barry sent a letter to whom it may concern, and there was a reply from, just a moment. Let me see. From Emily Greco.
Yeah, but he's not registered. Oh, he's there.
Huh?
Okay, we're apparently a nephew is here, so we're going to put him on. Okay, Mr. What's name? Toyota. Could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
wonderful. Thank you. The name is Barry Toyanaga, and I live in Solana Beach, California. I'm the nephew of the owner.
Nice place. Okay.
Thank you.
So
And-
tell
and
us
so,
tell us what's the concern with this application.
Yeah, and I think concern might be overstating it a little bit. Of course, it's just a surprise to my aunt, and when she called me on the 1st of September, this was the first we had heard of new construction, and I have been listening to the presentation so far, and I think it's just perhaps lack of communication with the owners. My aunt has lived there for many years and has known the owners for at least a couple of years. And so then we dove into the documents online and have done our best to understand what's going on. So we just have a few questions, and I wouldn't call them concerns. Because this new house is so much larger than the other houses on the street, we're just concerned about where things are going to be. And you heard my aunt say, gee, from the plans, we can't see where the heat pump will be. We can't see where the sump pump discharge is going to go. And we're just worried about how that would affect or possibly affect her living conditions. And perhaps the most interesting part is because the new building will be so high, and I wish I had seen some of these presentations before, I wish we could understand how the shadows are going to fall towards her house now that the new building will extend further beyond where it did before, and with significant shrubbery and trees where the shadow might fall. We just worry about, will that have an adverse effect on her property? But these things can all, be, explained perhaps by the architect or someone, but we don't know how to investigate it further.
Okay, so you finished, yeah?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, well, you covered the whole territory there from the trees to the shadow to the sump pump. We don't deal with that, with the sump pump here and the design and the flooding and all that stuff. That is at the permit stage, they will have to deal with it. Here we're looking at the variances they were submitted, five of them, and the one that was a concern is the coverage, and we'll deal with it. Now, any question for this gentleman here before we release them? No question? Okay, so Mr. Navabi, can you please, Mr. Ross is the one who is representing it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Ross, could you please just cover that? So go ahead and
Can you hear me all right?
now I hear you. Okay.
Okay. Yes, during that little discussion you were having, we discussed with the owner with regards to the coverage, and we will reduce the coverage to 32% in compliance with the staff recommendation.
Good move.
And and then I would mention that on the west side of the property, we comply with the side yard, we comply with the building wall height, we comply with the building height under the new bylaw.
Okay, so the only change you're making now is you agree to the change to 32%. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, any question for this gentleman, for this speaker? No question? Then,
No question, just want to, well, Mr. Ross said that on west side, they comply with everything, but I think maybe he meant on the east side, right? Because on west side, you have side yard setbacks. Area.
Yes, so I'm sorry, it was the west side of it's talking.
Okay,
Oh, pardon me.
does that answer your question? Thank you. Any other question? Okay, can I have a motion, please? I have two hands here, Mr. Bartolo and Miss at the same time. So which one was to make it? Which one wants to make? Mr. Bartolo, please go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, through you, I'll propose a motion to approve this application with a revision to variance number 3 to reduce the lot coverage to 32%. And I'll make my proposal subject to the requirements of the urban forestry memo.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay. Your application is unanimously approved, subject to the change to 32% and subject to forestry. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Item number 10, which is Elmridge Drive. We have a new one-story addition to the rear of the dwelling, three variances, forestry condition number 2, and transportation, no objection. So we have here just one speaker, Mr. Graham Barrett. Are you there? Barrett.
Yes, yes, good afternoon. My name is Graham Barrett of 1575 Dundas West. I'm the agent for the owners of 32 Elmridge.
Thank you. So just to see with the members if we need any presentation. This is a straightforward application. Members, do we need any? I don't see you again.
No presentation needed, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. That's a very, yeah, because if you, now I see you. Okay, so any, no presentation, so any questions? No questions, can I have a motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Mr. Chair, through you, this is a really, to me, a simple application that meets the 4 tests. I will motion to approve this application, and it will be, there is no transportation conditions, but there is forestry, so I'll add forestry to this.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Tarodi, all in favor? Okay. Your application is unanimously approved. Hello, are you there?
Yes, yes, I am. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay.
Have a nice day.
You too. Item number 11, which is to construct a new dwelling, 17 variances. Staff report the applicant is to provide a permanent screening, opaque screening of 1.5 meters. Modify variances number 1 to 7, which asks for 7.10 meters, 0.44. And number 16, which asks for 1066, and number 4, which is the FSI asking for 0.97 instead of 0.34. So, and there is forestry condition number 1, 6 letters of objection, and I'd like to ask the agent, Mr. Goodmans, Bronscale, David Bronscale.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, or I guess it's just good afternoon.
Yeah, it's just on the bridge there, just on the. So you're Mr. David Bronscale, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I need you to state your name yourself. State your name and address for the records here.
Thank you, sir. It's David Bronskill at Goodman's. Our address is 333 Bay Street, Suite 3400, Toronto, Ontario, M5H2S7, and just confirming that I'm here today acting as agent for the owners.
Thank you. So we have here 3 more speakers, and therefore we need you to make a presentation. You have up to 5 minutes, and I'm starting the clock right now.
Thank you, sir. And if in your packages, the two visuals that I may refer to just as I provide the presentation, one is the site plan and one is the streetscape elevation that shows the proposed building as it relates to the two houses on either side, if you have those with you. The subject property, as you know, is currently occupied by a two-story detached dwelling. Our clients acquired the property in 2019, and the proposal is to demolish the existing house and replace it with a new three-story detached house. In the letter that our clients provided to you, they indicated that the approach to the design of the house had been in part because one of our clients has a significant rheumatoid arthritis, which has become increasingly worse in recent years. Their intention is that this home would be their last residence, and it's been designed so that it would be wheelchair accessible with ground floor accessibility from both the front and rear of the property. This means there's also the installation of an elevator, and it also means in terms of how the floor plans are designed, as you often see with integral garages, space that is accessible by stairs above these integral garages is not something that our clients would like to do. While there is a staircase, the floors have otherwise been designed in a flat manner so that there is wheelchair accessibility across each of the proposed stories. This is a house that they want to use now and in the future. We have no issue with the opaque screening. I would just focus, if I could, in on the height and FSI variances that staff have identified with having a concern. We did a quantitative review of committee adjustments in the area. In terms of heights, our review, both within the immediate and broader context, found numerous examples of variances approved with heights in excess of 10 meters, and in fact, even in excess of 10.5 meters, and a few that are even in excess of 11 meters. But from a qualitative perspective, and as you may see on your screen with the streetscape elevation, what our client, through its architects, was attempting to do was pick up the approved height at the top of the roof for 323 Sheldrake, just two houses down. We believe in our respectful submission, when you look at this streetscape elevation in terms of the height, the number fits not only within the range of heights in the neighborhood, but also fits compatibly with the immediate context and the houses on either side. In terms of the FSI, Mr. Chair, again, we canvassed the area. There's a range immediately in Sheldrake. I acknowledge the range is runs up to about 0.68. On further west on Sheldrake, there are FSIs into the 0.8s, the mid 0.8s. But in the broader neighborhood, there are also FSIs in the mid 0.9s. While our FSI at 0.97 therefore may seem high, I think from a qualitative perspective, though, it is just part of that range. And most importantly, when you look at the site plan, what's been done in terms of the building is a front wall that lines up, a parking space that has the support of City of Toronto transportation staff, a rear wall that is only 4 feet longer than the adjacent neighborhood, and otherwise then floor plans that are rationalized to allow appropriate living space on each of the floors for our clients. We don't think that there are any negative impacts that result from this. And in fact, we think the built form is in keeping with what one might see on this lot. There's significant front yard and rear yard space remaining, and we don't think there are any overlook, shadowing, or privacy concerns caused by the proposal, in particular with the condition recommended by city planning. So while we understand the concern expressed by staff in terms of the number, when we look at this site plan, we don't think from an OP perspective that it's out of keeping with the existing physical character of the neighborhood. That's my overall presentation. I'm happy to answer questions now or later, and obviously we'll respond to the other speakers, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We'll come back to you. In the meantime,
Thanks, sir.
Any short question before we bring him back? Okay, so we have the next online is Ian Reid. Ian Reid, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. Could you please state your name and address? We need it for the records here.
Ian Reid, 339 Sheldrake Boulevard,
Thank
three
you.
houses to the east.
Thank you. So please tell us what's your concern about this application.
I have 4 concerns, but first I need to address an issue of process. The public notices for the neighborhood did not arrive by mail until 24 hours before this hearing. So I believe it's appropriate to consider a deferral, since many of the neighbors wouldn't have the opportunity to be aware to be in time for this to participate in this proceedings. If you want, I can continue with my other concerns.
So please just continue. We don't address the thing here. We don't send it. So the case in front of us, we have to make a decision based on what we have here today. So please go ahead.
Okay, the other concerns are height and character, density, balconies, and trees. So the height so the staff has already mentioned that that this should be more in keeping with the bylaw, and I would agree with that. The building would be overbearing in terms of its flat roof, and it's completely out of character. I disagree with Mr. Bronskill that it fits the character. The diagram doesn't show our house that he had to the left, but we are a pitched roof, and there are vast majority of houses are pitched roofs on Sheldrake, and especially in this delicate end brood of our street. The density or floor space index, I maintain that the trend is for 6.5, and 9.7 is exceedingly high, as pointed out by the staff report on August 25th. The balconies, I'm glad to hear that they would consider putting in opaque screenings, but I still find the number and the size of balconies, as the variants point out, are excessively high and are a consideration for both the privacy and the overbearingness of this building. The 5th point are the trees. I know that urban forestry has jurisdiction, but I would point out that this proposal lists on the site plan and sketch, or SK01, trees to be removed. One of these trees is over 45 feet in height and half a meter in diameter. And it's not accurately located in the drawing. It shows on the neighbor's property, it is actually on the subject property. So those are my points.
Thank you. Any questions, members? Any questions for this gentleman here? Ms. Sankar, she has a question. Please go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask the person dissenting if it clearly the applicant has stated that this is sort of a special case where this house is needed and being restructured for someone with a bit of a disability and in need of a wheelchair. I wondered what are your considerations of that in comparison to the rest of the neighborhood? I understand from you that you're saying it doesn't seem to fit with the neighborhood whatsoever, but if you're hearing this, I'd just like to hear your take on what's being said as to why they need this.
Well, I'm very sensitive to folks that need accommodations for disabilities. I have my own needs, but despite what the needs are expressed now and the way they want to use the house, situations change, and that could all go by the by, and we are left living next door to this house that is oversized. So I'm sympathetic, but I to a point. I think if they need to have the accommodations that they're looking for, they've got the wrong 25-foot wide lot. They're trying to squeeze too much into too little a lot.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay, so we'll move to the next one. Mr. Matthew Burchkovsky. Are you there, Mr. Burchkovsky? Mr. Matthew Burchkovsky. Is he registered?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Bruchkowski has left the event.
Okay, so we'll cancel him. Patricia Hania, are you there?
Mr. Chair, it appears that Mr. Bruchkowski is a call-in user.
He's back. Okay, Mr. Bruchkowski.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
here.
You're back. Okay, so please
I dialed in
state.
to prevent feedback.
Okay, please state your name and address that we need here for the records.
Matthew Burkowski, 333 Sheldrake Boulevard.
Okay, so please tell us what's your concern about this application.
Certainly, thank you for your time today. I purchased 333 Sheldrake in 2019. I paid a significant consideration for the charm of the community privacy of the ravine and the quiet nature of being at the dead end of a street. I have 2 children under the age of 3, and these characteristics are very rare in our city and very valuable to my family. At the time of purchase, we were well aware of what would likely happen with 331 Sheldrake as a teardown, but we placed faith in the process to ensure our investment and our privacy was respected. The application we're discussing today, in my opinion, is in no way minor and in fact is quite significant. The applicant is looking for 17 variances and density associated with a land use change under the guise of a minor variance. It is my opinion the application does not meet any of the 4 tests. As per city staff, both the height and density of this project are well in excess of the bylaw and exceed any home of new construction or renovation in the immediate area. I appreciate Mr. Bronskill suggesting there is some precedent for this, but I believe if you look at Sheldrake, Sherwood, and Stibbard, which are all similar built form, you will not find anything in his suggested 0.8 or 0.9. And I also believe the high end of the density he mentioned is not specific to 25-foot lots. There is precedent around the community for 0.6, which is what my house is, which is what 323 Sheldrake is, and many new builds on Sheldrake, Sherwood, and Stibbard, which are effectively similar streets. The applicant is proposing 4 balconies, twice the allowed amount, with an area of each balcony nearly 3 times the size permitted in the bylaw. Coupled with a home that is proposed to be 4 feet deeper than mine and that of my neighbors, the balcony will be 6 feet deep. Therefore, they can stand on their balcony and look back 10 feet at my house, which has curtain glass wall up the entire back. My privacy of myself and my neighbors will be significantly compromised if this was allowed. To the point of the health-related issues, I am sensitive to that, the health concerns. However, I think as citizens, we need to be protected by the bylaws and land use controls in place to control built form and privacy, neighborhood character, and sustainable growth. The bylaws are not intended to cover individualized health issues. I too might have these same issues with aging parents or health deficiencies of my parents, and I will have to make a choice and pay more money to stay in this community or downsize to a different area. I think Ian put it well. This lot is simply too small for this proposal, and it would set a density precedent that is vastly superior to anything that exists today. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question for this gentleman? Members, I don't see. Okay, any question? No? Okay. Next one is Patricia Hania. Patricia Hania, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Please state your name and address. We need it for the records.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. And I thank the Chair and the committee members. My name is Patricia Hania, and I live at 338 Sheldrake Boulevard.
Okay, so.
And I have, thank
please,
you.
Yeah, please tell us your concern, and you have a maximum of 5
course.
minutes. And if something was not mentioned before, please go ahead. Otherwise, if something, we don't need it to be repeated, okay?
Oh, okay. I will not repeat, but I will reinforce.
Thank you.
And I think and I thank the committee members. And first, before I start, I'd like to address the disability question that was raised by one of the members. And I thank that member for raising that issue because it is an important issue for all of us. And in regards to the applicant's access and worry about the disability, and I would also mention that we're talking about North Toronto here. To enter this neighborhood, you need financial resources. And this property was significant and its selling price. And this individual certainly has the option to be able to, has the financial means to be able to purchase another property that can meet its needs. And so while I'm sympathetic to those health issues, I do recognize that this individual has choice. And therefore, I think discussing it within the context of a small lot, 20-foot wide lot, and putting on a property building of the size that they are for access, I think there's probably other building lots in this neighborhood and in the city that they can choose to. So now to move to my letter and my points, I did provide the committee with a PowerPoint presentation, which sets out my 5 points that I'll speak to. In addition, I provided photos because I think what you'll see when you look at the photos and directly on that this property is 25 meters and is very limited. So the density issue that's been raised by my other 2 neighbors is important because what we know is the density that we see on this property is 0.97. It's problematic for not only the when we look at the precedent it will set, but it is not homogeneous to the rest of the properties in the area, which are primarily 0.6. So we would ask that the applicant stick to the bylaw. And when we talk about the density and the height, what has to be taken into account is that this is a smaller lot. And so therefore density and height are important because the coverage of the lot ends up being 97% of that property being covered. And so that's problematic. So when we talk about looking at the site plan as their representative did, I believe then it's out of keeping with the official plan and the zoning bylaw. In addition to that, when we look at the issue of density, we're talking about climate change and we're talking about being concerned about runoff to as a result of the driveway, the removal of grass, and therefore the replenishment of groundwater for trees and the creation of heat islands in urban centers. These are all issues that Committee of Adjustments are considering in other cities, and I know they are here in Toronto. So in regards to, do I think that this is an appropriate change for our end of the street? Because what's important when you look at the plan and the street, we're a dead end. And as a result of that, we're very different than the rest of Sheldrake. And therefore, the impact on our area in our vicinity is greater because it is a small section of the street. And therefore, not only that side of the street will be impacted, that is the west side, but the east side. And it, as I said, it's a very small area. So therefore, I would have the committee consider that, take a look at the photos, look at whether the carport and the car area can actually be accessed properly, because I know the city had indicated that the parking was within the property. However, access will be limited because there's a tree and there's a utility pole on that side of the street with a no parking sign. So access is going to be difficult. And then if you combine that with wheelchair access, it's even going to be more difficult for these.
Ms. Hania, I'll
applicants
ask you
at this
to
particular property.
summarize,
Thank
please.
you.
Thank you. You're
So I'm summarizing that no, this is not a minor variance on the 5 points. The 5 points being the height, the density, the appropriate change, and the public consultation was not done, as I
Thank
also
you.
received my letter yesterday.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay there. Maybe there's some questions. Any questions for this speaker? Members, any question for this speaker? No? Okay. So, Mr. Bronkhale, could you please come back and address those concerns?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to sort of start in reverse order and try and group them though as best as I can to be efficient. In terms of consultation, Mr. Chair, I would simply note that through the architects in these difficult times, a letter was provided to all of the neighbors with a request or offer to meet and review and or discuss plans. I know that the neighbor to the west met with our client and has indicated no concerns. No other neighbor asked to meet. And so to suggest that my client should then be following up, having sent a letter, which the last speaker acknowledged she received, I'm not sure what else my client is supposed to do when they've reached out. So I don't think that's a fair criticism. I would also note, Mr. Chair, that there are no landscaping variances. The package of materials, in fact, includes very detailed front and rear calculations in a landscape plan for the soft landscaping. So in terms of surface runoff and water absorption, we believe those are being appropriately addressed. And while I appreciate the last speaker's concern for my client being able to get out of the car and access the house, I can assure this committee that the way the driveway has been designed, including with the hard landscaping, there is more than enough space to park the car, access, use the wheelchair, and get into the house. We have certainly, through the architects, designed it accordingly. But coming back to, I think, some of the more, planning related, I would just simply note from the trees, urban forestry conditions will deal with it. I think the trees being questioned are about mid-lot and are probably impacted by even an as-of-right rebuild. I don't agree with the submission that this is out of keeping with the character of the area. There are lots of flat roofs within this neighborhood, and even from the streetscape elevation, you would look down the street simply to 337, which was recently constructed with a flat roof. And I would suggest to this committee that 323, although it has a pitch at its uppermost levels, frankly, also appears largely as a flat roof. And that's just within that block of 5 houses. I also don't agree that the density within the area is 0.6. As I indicated throughout the neighborhood, there's a significant range going up into the mid-0.9s. And even on Sheldrake itself, there are approved variances of 0.8 and 0.82 for 3-story semi-detached dwellings. So even with on Sheldrake, we're seeing higher FSI approves, not just at 0.6. This is obviously a gorgeous street in the neighborhood, ending where it does. I think I agree with the neighbors when they speak about that. And I think what my client is trying to do is live on this beautiful part of the street in a house that is sensitively designed to fit, but also meet their needs. And I would simply come back to the site plan and indicate, other than the number, I don't think there are any of the types of impacts that one would think of. The decks themselves have metal screenings on the front and back. They're designed to be private and not have overlook. The opaque screening will certainly help with that. And most importantly, as I indicated earlier, the way the walls are all being designed, there aren't overlook, privacy, shadowing impacts. It fits with its adjacent neighbors. And so I would simply say, Mr. Chair, I think the appropriate balance has been struck here. From a density perspective, I just want to come back to where I had started. The issue with designing a house that is wheelchair accessible is, so for example, an integral garage, when it is put into a house like this, as has been put on the street, as the committee knows, some of the garage is then deducted from the FSI. We're not doing that here. So we don't get the benefit of the garage being part of the house and having that GFA deducted. Why is there no garage? When you put in a garage on a house like this, you end up with split levels, and you end up with too many stairs, and you end up with houses that you can't design to be functional and accessible for someone who has a deteriorating health condition. That's why this FSI number I suggest is slightly misleading, because we're not really comparing apples to apples. The design function that comes out of these floor layouts means that we don't get some of the deductions you see in some of the other houses. That's why I led with that issue, and I apologize if I didn't explain it as well at the start. But that's why the accessibility issue has such an impact on the FSI number. Mr. Chair, that's all I intended to say in response, of course, unless there are questions from the committee panel.
Very good. You're in your 5 minutes. Perfect. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Staff, any questions for this gentleman? If not, can I have a motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. You know, when it comes to these types of situations, I find it, you know, very difficult to come to a decision, especially when it deals with a personal issue such as a disability, for which I myself come from a family that has had to deal with a disability all my life as well. So I'm very empathetic towards that. But I also have a role in looking at this application, the variances that are before me, and hearing what the various parties have had to say about the fit and character of this in the neighborhood. And clearly, to me, it speaks to me to say that there's still a lot more work that needs to be done. And I haven't seen any movement in addressing even the staff recommendations here today as well. Looking at all of that, my motion is to refuse this application. I think there's work to be done.
Ms. Sankar to refuse. Second. Mr. Klassen, second. All in favor? Unanimously. Okay, sir, your application is unanimously refused.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, item number 12, which is 16 Duncliffe Drive. We have here to construct a new dwelling, 6 variances, staff report, just a condition to develop per length as shown on the site plan, transportation, no objection, and 2 letters of support, 18 and 19 Duncliffe, next door and cross the street, straightforward. We have just one speaker here, Mr. Higgins, are you there?
I am.
Okay, I know who you are, but could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Certainly. Peter Higgins of Peter Higgins Architect Incorporated, 124 Merton Street, Suite 204.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't ask me the postal code, I never remember it.
No, that's okay. I don't remember mine either. Okay, staff, members, do we need a presentation for this straightforward application? No? Any question or motion, please? Anyone motion? Ms. Sankar? Go ahead, please.
Okay. Through you, Mr. Chair, it does look straightforward to me. I'll motion to approve this application as is.
Subject to, there is condition from staff. Do you want to add it?
I'm sorry, I was looking at the staff condition and the page that I'm pulling up, I don't see.
It's develop the building per length as shown on the site plan.
Okay, then, oh, right. So it was in the wrong section. Sorry about that. So it's the September 9th condition?
Yes.
That it be in accordance with the building length. Yes, I'll add that.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Second. Ms. Attarodi, all in favor? Okay. Mr. Higgins, your application is unanimously approved, subject to that staff condition to show on the site plan the length, okay?
Many thanks and have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye. Number 13, which is 21 Armour Boulevard, to legalize and maintain the existing rear yard deck, 1 variance, and we have 2 speakers, Mr. Lang, the agent, and another one. Mr. Lang, are you there?
Yes.
Could you please state your name and address, please?
David Lang, 2100 Blue Street West.
Okay, and we have one more speaker here, so we need you a brief presentation with a maximum of 5 minutes, and I start it now.
Not much of a presentation. It's an existing deck that was there many years ago. It was repaired as part of a building permit application in 2015. The variance is just for the coverage because the deck is now also a little bit at grade.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you. Very good. So we'll see the other person here. Mildred Davis, are you there? Or Trevor?
Yes, we are.
Okay, you're there.
And
Okay.
yeah, we're both here.
Okay, so which one want to speak?
I'm going to speak Mildred Davis.
You want to speak? Okay, please state your name and address.
My name is Mildred Davis.
Okay. And
20. I'm at 23 Armour Boulevard.
yes, okay.
And,
Okay,
and
and
Trevor Davis, also here at 23 Boulevard, though I may not be speaking.
well, whoever wants to speak, you're going to share the 5 minutes among the two of you. So whoever wants to speak, please go ahead. Tell us what's your concern about this application.
Thank you for having us speak today. Our concern about this application is the flooding of water and also the variance. So in opening, I would like to first bring to your attention, on March 23rd, 2016, you received a letter from Stephen Lofus, who lives at 19 Armour Boulevard. And in this, he said, I would like to offer our support for approval of the required variance. I would like to tell you there's a conflict of interest. The definition of a conflict of interest, a situation in which a person is in a position to derive personal benefits from actions or decisions made in their official capacity.
We know what conflict of interest is. We know what conflict of interest is. So please go ahead.
Well, please don't use my minutes. Thank you. So would like to bring to your attention, the person doing all this construction at 21 Armour Boulevard has been the company of Method, which is Chris Lofus is president of. And what has happened there, the sons of number 19, which is their children and grandchildren, have been working on the property since 2012 to get it ready for sale. Please also be aware another conflict of interest is number 20 Armour Boulevard. She is the daughter and also the sister of Methods, who own the company who's been doing all the work. The current owners, Shirley and David Black, came 3 times to see the deck before buying the house without the real estate agent present. If you go to your photo number 1, you will see in August 2016 the flooding of water on side of number 19 and number 21. You can see the back of the yard where there's a lot of water, and that was the old and current deck as it exists from the time I moved in here in 1996. It had never been touched in 2015 because they were aware if this deck is ever touched, that it was over the variance. If you go to photo number 2, photo number 2 is showing you the rainwater not draining at 21 Armour Boulevard and number 19 Boulevard. The spring of 2020, there was black mold all over the deck. If you look at it, photo number 2, they went and got a power washer and they blew it all in the air. And the area where this deck is, there's raccoon fetus and there's mold, and they blew it up in the air. You go down in the back, if you go to photo number 3, you can see that pooling of water that has leaves underneath, and it does the most disgusting mold smell, and they don't maintain it or take care of it. In an attempt to remedy the flooding, we bought 40 bags of dirt from Sheridan in May 2020, $259.45, and put it along the fence to block the water because of all this flooding. Nothing has happened. All that happens is it just comes over and it rolls down there and creates this big gap between the grass and the fence, and it rolls down to the back of the house behind me. You should also be aware that it has come to our attention late August 2020 that there might be a next phase to the deck. They're going to be put in a patio deck enclosure. Is this part of the application? And the sample of the enclosure was with a truck sitting on the street in front of 20 Armour Boulevard, showing what they can do, and they came in and did measurements of that entire deck with Shirley and David Black.
Are you finished? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any question for this speaker? No? Okay, Mr. Lang, could you please come back and address these concerns?
The deck's been there for quite some time. I wasn't aware of grading issues that date back to the original purchase of the home. There was an addition on the second floor that didn't require any grading conditions to be adjusted on the property. I'm not sure what to say on the conflict of interest items. I don't really have a lot of knowledge on that. But the deck was there and the structure has been maintained ever since the house was bought.
That's it. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. Any question for this speaker? If not, I need a motion, please. Anyone have a motion? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I mean, a lot of the comments that were made by the speaker descending weren't things that we could address at this committee forum, but the fact that she was able to voice it, I'm hoping that the applicant can hear and enact whatever measures that's needed. In terms of a motion, you know, Mr. Chair, I'm looking at this and I don't think that I have any major concerns with what I'm seeing before me. So I'll motion to approve this application.
Thank you. Second?
I have, through you, Mr. Chair, I have also a friendly amendment. Since this oversized deck is actually looking to the neighbor number 23 on the west side. So I would like to add a condition that we have a permanent opaque screening along the west side of the step with the height of 1.5 meter minimum height from the finish.
Are you okay?
I accept Ms. Nazaroti's proposal.
You're okay,
I
Ms.
accept.
Sankar, yeah?
Okay, then I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, unanimously, sir, your application unanimously approved based on that condition to put a screening, okay?
Okay, there's screening. Okay.
Thank you. Item number 14, 333 Hillhurst, to construct a new dwelling, 7 variances, 4 letters of objections, and yeah, two of them are the same duplicated, which means 3 households, and that's it. We have just one speaker here, Mr. Kotsopoulos.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Yeah, could you please repeat your name and address, please?
Yes, sir. Jim Kotsopoulos, 27 Fieldflower Crescent in Richmond Hill.
Okay, let's see if we need a presentation. We have no other speaker. Members, do we need any presentation here? Or maybe, yeah?
Yeah. I appreciate the presentation.
You need presentation. Okay, Mr. Kotsopoulos, could you please give us a short presentation as required by the member here?
No problem, Mr. Chair. Thank you. If you could just blow that up a little bit. Mr. Chair, we're aware of the objections, and it makes sure if that's the right. We've revised the initial drawing, Mr. Chair, in order to attempt to resolve some of these concerns. And what you have in front of you now, sir, is the revised plan from a couple of days ago, where we try to address the primary concerns being the side yard setbacks. So what you have on the west side, Mr. Chair, in abutting the number 335 property, that already has setbacks of 185 and 179, as you can see there. We are adjusting the side yard setback to a combination of 1.8 meters predominantly, with only the garage portion going down to 1.5. So if you could just see that, Mr. Chair and the members. So we are widening, we are revising the west side yard setback to 1.8 with the exception of the garage portion, which is going to be 1.5. And then on the reverse side, Mr. Chair, in try to maintain compatibility with number 331, which has recently received setbacks of 1.22 with their new build, we are proposing setbacks of 1.26 meters. And then also, Mr. Chair, we are asking that variance number 4 be deleted.
Okay, number 4 deleted. Okay.
That's it, Mr. Chair. And
Okay, thank you.
in terms of the others,
So the change you make, so variance number 4 to be deleted. Any question for this?
yes, sir.
Any question for this gentleman?
No, just a clarify. Oh,
I
you,
didn't hear it.
Nadine. So,
I still needed a little clarification through you, Mr. Chair. So it's number 4 has been deleted, but
Yes.
I had heard him mention that the west side setback he was trying to increase from 1.22 to 1.26. I'm confused about. what
Okay,
he
the
meant
west
by
side, through you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
The west side side yard setback will have a combination of 1.8 meters predominantly, but the garage portion will be 1.5.
Okay.
That's the west. And then on the east side, we are asking for a 1.26.
So the changes you're making is that you're removing number 4 and the change to number 3, what you're doing.
For number 2,
Yes.
we're asking that the proposed west side yard setback changes from 1.22 to 1.5
Okay.
for the garage portion only, while the remainder is 1.8.
Okay.
That's for number 2.
Okay.
For number 3, we're asking to change it from 1.54 to 1.26 to maintain compatibility with number 331.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, he's making variance number 3 worse.
Number 3 is changing from 1.5 to 1.26. Yeah.
We can't do that without sending
Yeah.
out a new notice.
Yeah. Mr. Kozlowski, you changed number 3 from 1.54 to 1.26. You're making it worse.
Okay. Mr. Chair, then if that's the case, then we would kindly ask that we maintain the 1.54 along the east side yard.
Okay. So number 3, there is no change. Number 4 is removed.
Yeah.
And number 2 is changed,
Yes.
changed to 1.5 to the garage portion, and the rest.
Correct, sir.
And the
From
rest is
1.2 to 4, yes.
Okay. All right.
Correct.
So any questions, members? No? Okay, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Bartolo? Sorry, I wasn't looking.
No worries.
Mr. Bartolo, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I will put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the following revisions, that the west yard setback be increased from 1.22 meters to 1.5 meters, and variance number 4 be removed.
Deleted. Yeah. Number 4, huh? Deleted, you said.
Number
4
2 should be
removed,
1.8
deleted.
meters for the main dwelling and 1.5 for the garage portion only.
Yeah, and 1 point. That's number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 2. So you got that, Mr. Bartolo?
I understand, so I will repeat then, so that the west yard setback be 1.5 meters for the garage portion, 1.8 meters for the main portion of the building, and the deletion of variance number 4.
Okay. Do I have a second? Ms. Tarodi, second. All in favor? Opposed? Mr. Klassen is opposing. Okay. Mr. Klassen, are you opposing or you're on board?
I'm not opposing. I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Your hands came at the end. Okay. Thank you. So, sir, your application is approved, unanimously approved based on those changes you made, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Number 15, item number 15, which is 6 Shetland Street, built a new dwelling, 2 variances, forestry condition number 1. Straightforward, there is no other conditions. Mr. Laxman Patel, are you there?
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Do you could you state your name and address, please?
Yeah, my name is Lakshman Patel. Address 21 Markbrook Lane, unit number 1601, Etobicoke, Toronto M9B 54.
Thank you. Members, do we need any presentation? No? Any question or motion? Can I have a motion then? Mr. Klassen, go ahead.
Yes, I just have a question about the east yard setback. That seems like a significant variance there. So just an explanation, perhaps.
Well, I think it's existing, I think it's a foundation we are using to, I think, build the second story. That's why, and I think so many properties, I think they have the similar kind of setbacks, despite they have the second floor, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Then can I have a motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I accept the explanations provided by the applicant here today. I'll motion to approve this application subject to forestry.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Okay, unanimously approved, sir, based on the condition of forestry. And that's...
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so that terminates our session of morning, which is 1 o'clock. But